mythic Tindral and Farak nerfs, they finally happened. Right?
At long last. Lowest end boss kill since Tome of Sargers.
Tome of Sargers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see. What did they do? They did a bunch of nerfs, like, 20%, 15%. Fiery growth targets are reduced to 3 from 4 for Farak. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like we necessarily need to do this as a topic.
No, not really.
Because we did talk about it last week.
But I believe it was... people are complaining that it's not the right nerf.
Oh.
And someone saying, yes, this is right. Flex kind of cooking for a change. That sounds mean.
For a change?
As opposed to shit posting, comparing late tier N'Zoth to late tier Farak, that's a kind of good thing because it was the same with Argus, right? When you're fighting Antorus, you just go and get more Legion Fall, and you just get a stat buff that gets genuinely, absolutely, unbelievably strong. You're like, why am I just like opening combat, seeing Legion Fall proc, and my numbers are like adding a 0 to it? What the? Cool. It was weird, but it kind of worked. It was just kind of flat grindy in a way, with artifact knowledge also meaning it kind of was just free power all the time. With corruption, obviously, like late tier N'Zoth was, people had optimized corruptions, especially once the vendor had the rotations, and they just went, what if we have the most cracked gear full of corruption because our cloaks are fully upgraded? We haven't just gotten better at N'Zoth, we have ground out power to kick his teeth down his throat. And that's like the kind of power fantasy that like people who like play MMOs probably want a decent power fantasy of the grind. People don't really want an esportsy game where it's like the PvP stat templates. Sweet, PvP. If you turned around and said, actually gear doesn't affect player power anymore, it's all stat templates, everyone would leave.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to play this. Which implies the opposite might be true. Which is, what if you give people ways to grind power forever? Maybe they'll like that.
History does show it works.
It does indeed. It does indeed. So it does kind of bring the idea of like, maybe they should plan that at some point in the next expansion or like in a future season, which is, what if you can just have a small way to continually get more powerful once you've hit like this gear? What if you have an item that gets like notably stronger?
Matt, what you're saying is you're advocating for 3 overlapping, infinitely farmable Legion Fall buffs.
I am, no. I am actually, am I going to say this?
Uh-oh.
I am advocating for the return of the Heart of Azeroth. And the Heart of Azeroth gets...
Help! I'm trapped! I can't get out!
And the Heart of...
Let me leave!
And the Heart of Azeroth has a proc that does a bunch of damage. Or buffs you. And you can infinitely grind it out to make it more powerful as time goes on. Maybe there's some form of artifact power. So to be completely real about this,
high crimes.
I boo send him to France and shit. And pair that with Titan Forging. Exactly. No, I actually think that there's a way to do the same idea, but without all of the massive downsides of the execution bot. Be that like the N'Zoth corruption is probably one of the finer examples, because it wasn't you have to grind your AP or you die. How do you make it feel optional and end gamey as opposed to part of the core game? Because every time they've tried the same thing, it's ended up being like Legion Fall was good, but it came at the cost of, that was the late game answer to how unbelievably terrible artifact power was, artifact power was at the start of the expansion. So I would definitely love to see them try something, but I think they should be very careful about how it impacts player behavior at the front end of the gearing curve. You kind of want this to be a post gearing thing, like what are they called again? Are they called marks? In Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which is a game all about you get your power progression. That's the game is you get power progression and you fight stuff, and then you get to, you go from hard to very hard to extreme to maniac to proud difficulty. Like, it is just that cycle. With like, obviously new quests are added later on, so it's not the same stuff over and over again. But a lot of that is like, this is just trying to create a new infinite treadmill every patch. Correct. If people like to run, put them on a treadmill.
There's another side to this.
Yeah.
Right. So the problem is that Mythic isn't fit for purpose.
Yeah.
So this is one solution to the problem.
Yeah.
The other solution is make Mythic difficulty fit for purpose.
That also
and if you want to do a competition difficulty for a competition, then do that. But is Mythic fit for purpose? I mean, the stats really don't seem to say so. When it's at the point where you just have many guilds begging for nerfs, this is maybe telling you that for the intended overall audience, it's too easy, or sorry, too hard. Yeah. You look at some other games and their initial race is not as long as a 2-week Warcraft race.
Yeah, like Classic. This one's over 16 hours, so it's getting a bit long.
Like Destiny with its competition mode.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, that's the other side of this. What we're talking about is slowly changing Mythic from competition tuning to average player tuning. Obviously, average player who Mythic rates.
Yeah, not average player tuning, because then it would sit somewhere below heroic.
Yeah. Now, what do we do with that? Because I know that a lot of people don't want an extra difficulty mode in World of Warcraft. The thing is, right now, you have 2 difficulty modes within Mythic, and it just changes between them over time. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, I don't really have a horse in this race. If Mythic 10 existed, I would have a horse in the race, though. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things I find it hard to big emote about it, because I'm not really living the experience of a Mythic Raider who just has any form of experience-based position in this. I suppose, well, they clearly are tuning it for the race. And if they're tuning it for the race, and they know that that is higher than they should be tuning it for everybody else, well, you should tune it for everybody else, because that's your paying customers. And if the race is going to be a separate thing, then, commit to it. Because I think ultimately this stems from a problem where Blizzard sees the race as a major part of, they evidently do. Everyone says not officially supported. It is officially supported. They have developers who are there on deck to do things.
Yeah, it is literally supported. They could, if you...
It's unofficially official, officially unofficial.
If you pushed them on it in, under oath, they could get away by saying it is, prime, it's a perfect time for them to get, feedback and testing, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is literally, it's... Even the way Ian talks about, how they wanted to tune it less, or they wanted to make, less nerfs this time, because they know they have issues with it. They obviously know they have this problem. So it's just a matter of how do they fix it in the next expansion, which is obviously a bit of a Blizzard thing, is we'll fix it in the next expansion. But this time I kind of trust they'll maybe give it a good try. That said, I also do enjoy the idea of power scaling at the end of once you're done gearing. I do like the idea of that. It's just tricky to not have it interrupt the gearing process. I guess that'd be interesting. Yeah, Flex Mythic would be interesting, because Flex Mythic would have people trying to optimize with different raider numbers. And you'd be like, oh, they're going to try this pull with 17. Oh, they're trying this one with 15. Oh, they're trying with 18. Where's the break point for mechanics? Oh, there's a 40% chance that you get an extra mechanic if you bring 16 players. Is that worth it over 17? Where's a 60% chance? Oh, dear God. Oh, they bad rolled and the 40% hit, and now they have an extra version of the mechanic, and now they're dead. And that's not competitive. That's not competitive. Don't try it. Also, flex and difficulty are generally kind of struggles in general. So that's it for that. That's Mythic nerfs.
Yeah, Mythic nerfs. They haven't fixed Mythic. I suppose, look, if you're in chat, if you're watching this in a clip, do you think the Blizzard should just ship a Mythic that's actually intended for evidently the vast majority of the Mythic rating player base?
Just do your job right, forehead. Astounding analysis here from the Blizzard.
Well, the trouble here is, Blizzard wants to have all the benefits from the race to world first.
Yeah.
But they don't want to have the responsibility of running it, which I totally understand. But that then means that they're left with a difficulty mode that is having to do multiple things, and they have to move the goalposts. And I think everybody will tell you that goalposts moving in your game is fine. That's called player progression. The problem is, As in, players progress in terms of skill, they progress in terms of gear. The thing is, that's the player moving themselves closer to the goalpost as they go towards their goal. The developer then moving the goalpost. That's when we have a problem.
That's not. That is explicitly not the goalpost moving. The point is, the goalpost is supposed to stay still, and you go, I am going towards the goalpost with the ball in whatever sport.
The problem is, if you're running towards the goalpost and then they move it, you may be decapitated. And that is really what Blizzard risked. They actually risked decapitating the Mythic player base, man.